Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So today I'm going to be walking you through day one of our DBQ. How did the Constitution guard against tyranny? So with the day one part of this activity, you're really going to be introducing yourself to the task that we will be completing to answer this question: how did the Constitution guard against tyranny? So what you have in front of you is your title page. What you can see is that on each of these slides in the top right-hand corner, including on the questions slide, there is an audio icon in the top right-hand corner. That audio icon is for you to listen to me, if you would choose to, read this to you. Okay, so you can have the option of reading it to yourself, or you can listen and I will read it to you myself. Okay, so that option is yours. So we have our title page here, which is just an overview of what you are going to be doing with this activity, just a slight amount of background information, a title for each of the documents, and then we have on the left-hand side a short video about what a tyrant looks like, so that you have a little bit of background information of what the word tyranny means. Okay. Slide number 2, we have our main idea and why it matters now. You can listen to me say it to you again. I'm going to say it right now also. So the main idea is that Americans across the nation debated whether the Constitution would produce the best government. Why does this matter now? Well, obviously we know we have a Constitution, but what that Constitution does is protects our American liberties throughout the Constitution, but specifically in the Bill of Rights. Okay. Slide number 3 is a section from our textbook, Creating the Constitution. It's a brief section that I'd like for you to either read to yourself or listen to me by clicking on the audio in the top right-hand corner. And then there's a short little video that goes with it about the making of the American Constitution. At this point, if you could pause this tutorial and complete that task, and then we'll join back together and move on to the next step. Okay, so at this point you should have read the section and then watched the short video. On the right-hand side, you can see that there is a question here for you to answer in your own words. Do you think the Founding Fathers had everyone in the United States' interests at heart when they were writing the Constitution? Why or why not? So when you are answering this question, I want you to think about who was living in the United States at this time. We had men, we had women, we had black, we had white, we had rich, we had poor. We had a whole range of different people. But then compare that to the men who were writing the Constitution. They were mostly rich, they were all white, and they were men. So use those two things to help you to answer the question, which I will repeat again. Do you think the Founding Fathers had everyone in the United States' interests at heart when writing the Constitution? Why or why not? And you can erase the text and type your response here. So at this point, please pause the tutorial and do that for me. Okay. So let's move on to slide number 4. Slide number 4 is a background essay, again with an accompanying video that's going to kind of give you an idea about the Articles of Confederation, which we very briefly discussed, but not really too much. So the video will help you to understand the articles, and then the background essay is going to help you to answer our DBQ question. So at this point, what I would like for you to do, and don't worry about the highlighting and the number boxes right now, we'll do that in the next task. So right now, what I'd like you to do is pause the video and either read this to yourself, or you can listen to me read it to you by clicking on the audio. So you're going to pause the tutorial, you're going to watch the video, The Articles of Confederation Explained, and then you're going to read the background essay and then come back to this tutorial when you are done with those two things. Okay, so at this point you have watched the video, you have read the background essay. We have this one task down at the bottom, retyping our DBQ question. So our DBQ question is right here. How did the Constitution guard against tyranny? Please just retype that question right here. Pause the tutorial and do that for me now. Okay, so you've retyped the question, so you have a really clear understanding of what the question is, and then let's get into some questions a little bit more about this background essay. So slide number 5, the final slide for day number 1, are the background essay questions. So the audio in the top right-hand corner will read each of the questions to you, and then what I'm going to do right now is explain to you how to answer them. So for example, it says, in what city and in what year was the Constitution written? So I have highlighting squares here, and I have boxes for my questions here. So we have question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's right here. And then 5A, 5B, 5C, and 5D. Now you don't have to move these around anywhere because I did include them on the previous slide where you are going to find the answers. So question number 1, again, in what city and in what year was the Constitution written? If I go back to slide number 4, I know that it says it right up here. In May of 1787, they began to drift into Philadelphia. So I'm just going to click and drag, resizing it. Okay, and then I'm going to put my number 1 square next to it, just like that. Okay. And it's okay that they overlap. I can see them both as your instructor. If it really bothers you, you can click on the number 1. And then if you go to arrange, you can bring it to the front. And now it's in front. Okay, it's up to you. Now I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to remember this. It said in May of 1787, they came to Philadelphia. So I'm going to write that answer here. In May of 1787, they met in Philadelphia. I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can see Philadelphia. And that's all I have to do, and then I can move on to the next question. So you're going to continue that process of highlighting, using the highlighting. Let me go back to normal size. You're going to use the highlighting squares to highlight where you found the answer, and then the number squares, drag it to next to the answer that goes with the correct question. So the number corresponds to the question, and then come back to slide number 5 and answer the background question. And then same for the number 5, it says Constitution. You're going to be defining and explaining each of these terms. So Constitution, you can see it that they're bold, some of them. You may have to use your own ideas on how to answer the question for some of these, but we have, for example, frame and tyranny. Okay, so those are a couple of our words, frame and tyranny. Articles of Confederation, right up here, Articles of Confederation. And then Constitution, which we'll have to kind of use our own ideas of what we've talked about. A constitution is like a set of rules for the government, and that would be your best answer. Okay, so this is your task for today. For day number 1 is these 3 slides. Just a quick overview again. Most of these slides, some of these slides have a short little video to help you get a better understanding of what the slide is about, and then each slide has an audio where you can listen to me read the page to you, or you can read the page to yourself.